Good evening and welcome to the news. I'm Ankita Mukherjee. Over the next half hour, the day's big stories. Let's get started with the headlines first. Act yourself or face contempt proceedings. The Supreme Court's stern warning to the government and to the police on hate speech cases. The court has some of its strongest comments yet, asking where have we reached in the name of religion. As Bilkis Bano lives in fear, how her rapists now back home in Gujarat's Dahod village are leading a normal life. NDTV's special ground report from Bilkis's village. We try and speak to some of them. One responds defiantly, asking, have you ever seen Hindu men rape anyone? In the UK Prime Ministerial race, is it now going to be Rishi Sunak versus Boris Johnson? Sunak still the bookies' favourite to replace Liz Truss a day after she resigned, becoming the shortest Prime Minister in British history. An army chopper crashes in Arunachal Pradesh. 2 people have been killed. This is the second chopper crash in that state in this month alone. The Prime Minister offers prayers at Kedarnath and Badrinath and launches an ambitious 2,430 crore rupee ropeway project. In Delhi and Gurugram, a pre-Diwali nightmare. Massive traffic jams as people do last-minute shopping and delivery of gifts in bumper-to-bumper cars. Even ambulances and healthcare workers are stuck. How the Aam Aadmi Party now has a war room to deal with stubble burning in Punjab. The war room is using live satellite tracking to keep track of farm fires. This as farm fires have contributed the lowest so far to Delhi's current air pollution levels. And Bollywood's man of the moment, Vijay Deverakonda, speaks to NDTV on his likes, dislikes and what makes him tick. Watch out for our Jai Jawan special. Our top story tonight, the Supreme Court's comments on hate speech. Very important given the context that they've been given in. The court said this is the 21st century. Where have we reached in the name of religion? Perhaps some of the strongest comments made by the top court yet on hate speeches. The government and the police have been asked now not to wait for FIRs or cases to be lodged, but to take action themselves on hate speeches. Arvind joining us with the latest on that. Arvind, what else has the court said?
Ankita, Supreme Court has come down heavily on the instances of hate speech, wherein today a petition was filed before the Supreme Court and it was heard by bench led by Justice K.M. Joseph and also Justice Rishi, wherein the petitioner brought to the court's notice about the recent hate speech given by BJP MP Parvesh Verma. Appearing for the petitioner, senior advocate Kapil Sibal told the court that despite several instances of court intervening in such cases and also clear laws still prevailing, but the authorities are not taking enough action in order to curb such hate speeches, and they also brought to the court's notice about the content of this particular speech that was given by BJP MP Parvesh Verma. So Supreme Court, after hearing the petitioner's argument today, gave 3 very important directions to the state governments and also police. In its first direction, the Supreme Court has asked the state governments and also the police of 3 states, Delhi, Uttar Pradesh and also Uttarakhand, to file status report on the action taken against such instances of hate speech in their own respective jurisdiction. The second very important direction is that the police need not wait for someone to file a complaint in cases of hate speech. In fact, the police should take suo motu action and then act promptly and sternly against such instances of hate speech. And third very important thing is a warning to the police authorities, wherein Supreme Court has said that if the authorities hesitate to act on such instances, then they will be faced with contempt of court.
All right, Arvind, thanks very much indeed for joining us with those details. The big international story after Liz Truss's dramatic resignation as the British Prime Minister yesterday, could it now be a straight fight between former Chancellor of the Exchequer Rishi Sunak and Boris Johnson, who appears to be making what can only be described as an astounding comeback? With key Conservative contenders now dropping out of the race, the field seems to be narrowing down to Sunak, Johnson and Penny Mordaunt, with Sunak, at least for now, clearly in the lead.
Tory MPs hoping to succeed Liz Truss as the UK Prime Minister are racing to find backers before a Monday deadline. Initial reports indicate that Sunak has the most MPs declaring their support, with 52 compared to 30 for Boris Johnson. This as Boris Johnson is planning a comeback behind the scenes. Rumours are building he could mount a push for the rare role of once and future Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, that I am sorry that we've delivered the energy price guarantee and I will continue to do that.
Westminster is in turmoil, the UK economy is floundering. But will Rishi Sunak be the next UK Prime Minister? The odds so far say yes. Since yesterday, he has been the bookies' favourite, while Penny Mordaunt was emerging as the second option, followed by Boris Johnson. This morning, though, Boris Johnson climbed to second favourite, overtaking Mordaunt, but Sunak still remained the top choice for bookies. But last time, there was a twist in the tale. Rishi Sunak emerged as a clear winner. Nobody could match him if only MPs were allowed to vote for the new leader. After it was suddenly announced that the selection process would be the MPs plus the Conservative Party grassroots workers, Sunak's vote dropped by a huge 12% to 43% and he lost to Truss's 57% by a large margin. So the numbers from the last contest make it clear that the chances of Sunak winning dropped the moment the party made the surprise announcement that grassroots party workers would also vote for the new leader, not just the MPs. Unlike last time though, there'll be an expedited selection process with only candidates who have nominations from 100 Conservative members of Parliament allowed to put their names forward. The UK will have yet another new leader by next Friday. While the former Chancellor is the early favourite with bookmakers who reckon he can seize the top job this time around, to some Conservatives, Rishi Sunak is the minister who got Britain through the COVID pandemic. But to some others, he is the traitor who knifed Boris Johnson or the rival to Liz Truss who warned her tax plans would bring chaos. Now he has to weigh up whether he can convince Britain's governing party he is the man to save it from chaos. Parvesh for NDTV.
Back home, Prime Minister Narendra Modi was in Uttarakhand today pushing for better infrastructure access in Indian villages along the Chinese border. He also announced the ambitious Parvatmala project that will link the Himalayan states. He has laid foundation stones for the Kedarnath ropeway project as well, which will be developed at a cumulative cost of around 2,430 crores, but be an environmentally friendly access to some of the most inaccessible places.
अब पहाड़ी राज्यों की कनेक्टिविटी को और बेहतर बनाने के लिए हमने विशेष तौर पर जैसे सागरमाला है, वैसे भारतमाला है, वैसे अब पर्वतमाला का काम आगे बढ़ने वाला है। और हम तो कहते हैं जो कभी गांव छोड़ करके गए हैं उनको अपने गांव वापस लौटने का मन कर जाए, ऐसा मुझे जिंदा गांव खड़े करने हैं। गुजरात के अंदर पाकिस्तान की सीमा पर आखिरी गांव है कच्छ के रेगिस्तान में धोरडो। आज धोरडो बहुत बड़ा टूरिस्ट सेंटर बना हुआ है, लाखों लोग हर साल आते हैं, वहां के लोगों के लिए करोड़ों रुपए का व्यापार होता है। आखिरी गांव को जिंदा कर दिया, उसके कारण पूरा इलाका जिंदा हो गया।
With Diwali just around the corner, people are flocking to the markets in large numbers for festive shopping and for gift giving as well. And it's resulted in massive traffic jams across large parts of the city and its satellite town of Gurgaon to avoid congestion. Traffic police created designated parking sites and asked citizens not to park their vehicles at other locations. But there's been gridlock in various parts of the city, even ambulances stuck in some of those jams. Priyanshi joining us at this point from one of those very busy intersections tonight. Priyanshi, have things let up just a little bit, or is it still quite bad?
Well, Ankita, the traffic is, as you can see, it is a moving traffic, but many parts of the city are now, many people are stuck on the roads because of heavy traffic, because this is the Diwali that we can call is the first one that's fully out of the pandemic, because COVID cases have been down for months now. So people are really flocking the streets, flocking the markets, because it's the first time that they can fully be out in 2 years. Even last year there were some COVID cases. Now they've fully gone down to minimal levels. So that's why we can see people really coming out to the streets. And that can be seen in the traffic. Now tomorrow is Dhanteras. Day after, Dhanteras will be celebrated for 2 days. Now people go out to buy gold. Then Monday is Diwali. So people are stepping out to shop. They're stepping out to get gold, get decorations, get clothes for Diwali, and for tomorrow Dhanteras they're also planning to get gold for that. So you can see people are also going out to meet their friends and family, as that is the spirit of the Diwali season. So we're seeing heavy traffic across many parts of the national capital, not just South. We're right now standing in South Delhi, and as you can see there's moving traffic, but this was still stranded a few moments ago. Heavy traffic in North Delhi as well. Now it's also a point of concern that we are now feeling is that even though the mask mandate doesn't exist in Delhi anymore, it's not, you don't have to pay a fine if you don't wear a mask, but you really have to wear a mask because of the pollution. The pollution is really high. The PM 2.5 level right now in this area, yesterday night at 8 PM was 200 micrograms per cubic meter, while the WHO safe limit for this is just 15 micrograms per cubic meter. So that just goes on to show how poor the air quality in Delhi is, and this vehicular pollution is only adding to it. As remember, the vehicular pollution is a huge contributor to the pollution in the national capital. So all of this is adding to not just the people's worries, but also vehicular pollution, but it all shows the festive spirit that's coming out finally out of the pandemic.
All right, Priyanshi, thanks very much indeed. But also with winter and Diwali around the corner, concerns over pollution and air quality now rising. Air quality has already dipped in several cities of northern India and stands between poor and very poor quality. As you can see, Faridabad in Haryana at very poor, Darbhanga in Bihar also in the very poor range, Baddi in Himachal Pradesh, Ghaziabad in UP, Katihar in Bihar, all in that poor range. So, as NASA's satellite tracks, we can now see the incidence of farm fires, which is often seen as one of the big contributors to deteriorating air quality levels. These farm fires are now increasing, but clearly even now they're not at the levels that they have been at in past years, though now it does appear to be that they're rising at the moment. But if we also look at the share of farm fires and stubble burning to the air pollution levels, then as you can see from the red line on that graph, it's a clearly declining trend, with the share of stubble burning quite negligible at the moment. As air quality dips, it's also projected a blame game between, it's also triggered a blame game between the Aam Aadmi Party and the BJP. The BJP is holding AAP-ruled Punjab for not being able to control stubble burning. But our colleague Saurabh Shukla spoke with the Agriculture Minister of Punjab, who gave us a special tour of the war room, which the AAP government has now set up to tackle the issue of stubble burning. We get you a ground report.
स्थिति कंट्रोल से
हाँ जी बिल्कुल यार सारे आगे लगे बने कितने आगे नहीं लगी सारा पेडलिंग हो रही है सारे गड्ढा बनने एरिया
लोगों के खेतों में दो लोगों को समझाओ कि पराली को मत आग लगाओ.
Punjab Agriculture Minister Kuldeep Singh Dhaliwal is talking to the Agriculture Officer of Amritsar on a video call and asking him to go to the field where crop stubble is being burnt. To tackle this source of air pollution, the new Aam Aadmi Party Punjab government has set up a war room. A team monitors live satellite data. As soon as they get a picture of a fire in a field, they immediately notify the exact location to their local team.
ये जो लोग बैठे हुए हैं इनको 2-2, 3-3 जिले दिए एक एक आदमी. तो जब इसके पास आ गया कि जी मतलब उधर आग लगी है।
गूगल लोकेशन आ जाती है
आ
आप लोगों के
जाती
पास की
है। हम उससे ले अपनी ब्यूरोक्रेसी को अपने अफसर जो है खेती बाड़ी के उधर भेज देते हैं। हर चीज का प्रबंध करें, कोई भी चीज किसान को चाहिए उसकी हेल्प करें।
According to government data, there has been a decline in stubble burning cases this year. On the ground, however, some farmers have a different view. Just 20 kilometers from Chandigarh in Mohali, Taranjeet Singh has set fire to stubble in his 6-acre farm. Taranjeet says that it's cheaper for them to burn the paddy stubble and they can't afford to rent the machines the government has provided.
ਪਰਾਲੀ ਦਾ ਜੇ ਮੁੱਦਾ ਹੋਵੇ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਧੂਆਂ ਨਿਕਲਦਾ ਪੰਜਾਬ 'ਚ ਤਾਂ ਕੋਈ ਅਸਰ ਹੋਵੇ ਦਿੱਲੀ 'ਚ ਕਿਉਂ ਅਸਰ
यानी पंजाब में असर नहीं हो दिल्ली में क्यों असर हो रहा है आप ये कह रहे हैं
ਗੱਲ ਇਹ ਆ ਇਹ ਤਾਂ ਕਿਹਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਕੀ ਆ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਕੋ ਗ੍ਰੀਨ ਟਿਊਬ ਨੇ ਖਿੱਚ ਲਿਆ ਕੇਜਰੀਵਾਲ ਨੇ ਫਟਾਫਟ ਲਿਖ ਕੇ ਦੇਤਾ ਜੀ ਇਹ ਸਾਡਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈਗਾ ਤਾਂ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਤੋਂ ਧੂਆਂ ਆਉਂਦਾ ਧੂਆਂ ਕਿੰਨੇ ਦਿਨ 20 ਦਿਨ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਹੁਣ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਇਹ ਦੱਸੋ ਵੀ 365 ਚੋਂ 20 ਦਿਨ ਕੱਢ ਦੋ ਬਾਕੀ ਦਿਨ ਕੀ ਦਿੱਲੀ 'ਚ ਪ੍ਰਦੂਸ਼ਣ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੁੰਦਾ
This time there is extra political focus on the problem because Aam Aadmi Party is now in power in Punjab as well as Delhi, the world's most polluted capital. The BJP held protests at Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal's residence over pollution. However, currently less than 5% of Delhi's air pollution is from stubble. Much of the pollution is from Delhi and its neighborhood, especially from vehicles.
Videos have gone viral of yet another ugly slugfest between two groups of residents in a building society in Noida in Uttar Pradesh. The clashes, which turned violent, stopped only after the police arrived.
An ugly fight between two groups of residents at a Noida apartment building, shocking videos that have gone viral. The fight, allegedly over a resident's body election in Noida's Hyde Park society, apparently escalated after security guards were accused of manipulating the elections to help one of the groups. The ugly brawl ending only after the police arrived. Two women residents claimed they were assaulted by the guards.
आराम करिए, यहाँ पे पूरी जनता खड़ी है आपके साथ में, गार्डों की गुंडागर्दी नहीं चलेगी।
कुछ गार्ड लोग आ गए जो कि पता नहीं किसकी इंस्ट्रक्शन फॉलो कर रहे थे, XAO की, वो आ गए, उन्होंने लाठियाँ बरसा दी। एज ए रिजल्ट मैं और मेरी सिस्टर इंजर्ड हो गए, उसमें हमारे हाथ में चोट आ गई।
The members of the new apartment owners association claimed that the guards acted at the behest of the previous members.
They are ex-AOS goons.
Okay.
वो उनके गुंडे थे. There's a female resident who's been pushed and heckled, and then she started retaliating. So it has been presented as a narrative that okay, the residents started beating the guards first, whereas if you look at the complete video, it was the other way around.
For now, the police is trying to figure out how the ugly fight began. In a statement, the Noida police acknowledged that this is a fight between two groups of residents and the role of a few guards is under investigation. Police also claims to have arrested two guards. Thursday's incident in Noida is just one among the many where guards and residents have entered into an altercation. Only recently, a woman allegedly drunk was seen misbehaving with a guard. And in an unrelated but similar society altercation, the man seen abusing and hitting a woman in Grand Omek society, Shrikant Tyagi, came out on bail to a rousing reception from certain members of the Tyagi community, almost celebrating his actions.
Another day, same story. The increasing fights between the residents and the guards are becoming a standard problem in the Noida society. While the criminality of these cases are subject to police investigation, but the increasing trend in these cases are very alarming and shows no signs of ebbing. With Kanan Patra, Vinona Vadwani for NDTV.
Former Home Minister and Congress veteran Shivraj Patel is facing bitter criticism from the BJP for Hindu hatred. This over his recent remarks that the concept of jihad was not just in Islam but also in Bhagavad Gita and in Christianity. Well, today he sought to firefight the controversy by issuing this clarification.
महाभारत के अंदर जो गीता का जो भाग है उसके अंदर भी श्री कृष्ण की अर्जुन को भी जिहाद की बात ही कहते हैं और ये सिर्फ ये जो बात है वो सिर्फ ये कुरान शरीफ में और गीता के अंदर है ऐसा नहीं है, मगर जो क्रिश्चियन लोगों ने लिखा है, जैसे कृष्ण ने भी लिखा है, अगर कृष्ण ने अर्जुन को लड़ने के लिए कहा तो उसको जहाद कहेंगे क्या आप ही कह रहे हैं। उन्होंने कहा, उन्होंने कहा कि तुम, वो बार बार बोलते हैं कि कोई अगर लड़ाई हो रही है तो उसको खत्म करने के लिए उनसे बात करो, और यही जो है ये कुरान शरीफ के अंदर वही बोला है और ये बाइबल है वही बोला है। देवता को आप देवता की अच्छी बात को, एक लकड़ी भी के अंदर अगर कोई अच्छी बात है तो उसको भी आप अच्छी बात मानो।
And after the BJP hit out at the Congress over Mr. Patel's remarks accusing it of playing vote bank politics, the Congress's Jairam Ramesh said those comments were unacceptable. He appended an excerpt from Nehru's discovery of India to his tweet as well.
देखिए, मुझे तो शक लगता है कि कांग्रेस पार्टी ने फतवा फैक्ट्री की फ्रेंचाइजी ले रखी है और एक के बाद एक जिस तरह से कांग्रेस पार्टी, चाहे देश की संस्कृति का बात हो, संस्कार की बात हो, सनातनी संकल्प की बात हो, सुरक्षा की बात हो, हर चीज़ पर कांग्रेस पार्टी नकारात्मक सोच के साथ दिखाई पड़ती है, उल्टी सोच के साथ दिखाई पड़ती है। अब इस मामले में तो जिहादियों को संरक्षण देती हुई दिखाई पड़ रही है। ये वही उसी तरह की भाषा है जिस तरह की कभी अलकायदा कहता था, उसका जिहाद बिल्कुल जस्टिफाई है।
Earlier this week, an NDTV investigation exposed how, despite multiple charges against them, the Gujarat government released the 11 men who were convicted of raping Bilkis Bano and killing her entire family. Following this, NDTV's Tanushri Pandey travelled to Bilkis's village in Gujarat's Dahod district. Her rapists are back home, rehabilitated, and it seems completely unrepentant. Bilkis Bano's house lies abandoned. She lives in fear. Tanushri, tell us what you saw. You actually tried to speak to some of these accused, some of these convicted, I should say, who've also been accused in multiple other FIRs when they were apparently out on parole. And then they were later released, of course, for good behavior.
That's right, Ankita. In fact, we travelled to the village Randhikpur in Dahod district, just about 10 kilometers away from Gurjar, which was the epicenter of the Gujarat riots. And what we witnessed on the ground was completely shocking. On one hand, there lies a house which is an abandoned house of Bilkis Bano. She used to live here, but now out of fear, she has never been able to come to this house ever since the Gujarat riot because she doesn't have any kind of protection or security being provided by the Gujarat government, even after her convicts were released. So there is an abandoned house on one hand, and on the other hand, just about 10 steps away from there are the houses and shops of the 11 convicts. Now, what I witnessed on the ground, Ankita, was a complete, all these 11 convicts are having a regular life. They are chit-chatting with their neighbors. They are, in fact, celebrating Diwali, having pre-Diwali celebration with their families, and they are completely unrepentant. In fact, some of them are still in denial of the gruesome crimes they have committed in 2002 during the Gujarat riots. In fact, what they have been convicted of. I tried speaking to one of the convicts, Gautam Nai, who has one of the complaints against him when he was in parole, that he allegedly tried to threaten to kill two of the eyewitnesses in the Bilkis Bano case. When I tried speaking to him, he was in fact very upset with the media, and he clearly told me that, have you ever seen any Hindu raping? Can you look at me and tell me, can I rape a woman? Those were his exact words, Ankita, and he was completely unrepentant, and he asked me to leave. Other convicts were in fact having their own lives. Some of them were sitting in their jewelry shops. Some of them were selling crackers for Diwali to public. So this was the situation in Randhikpur village. But the most important point here, Ankita, is that I also tried speaking to the SP and the district magistrate who, cleared the early release of these men despite charges against them. But they were in absolutely no mood to answer our questions. The DM of Panchmahal, Gurjar, he did not take our call, and the SP, Superintendent of Police of Panchmahal, took my call. He heard my entire question, and then he hung up. He cut the call without answering the question. So clearly we can see that the entire Gujarat police and the entire Administration is in absolutely no mood to answer any questions, and they are clearly evading all tough questions on the Bilkis Bano case, Ankita.
All right, we'll leave it at that. Thanks very much indeed, Tanushree, for getting us those harrowing details. We will end on that very somber note. Thanks for watching the news.